Okay. I
Okay.
got a live stream. I'm just gonna wait. Oh, there we go. There's like the notification in my corner. Lovely.
Okay. There we are. There we are. Welcome everyone to Kiki and Kibit's exciting Survivor Live season 41 podcast. My name is Brianna and I'm here with my extra blue co-host.
Very extra blue
Here to
today.
say,
Bluer than the ocean.
Alex, you're a Smurf. I love
I just need to
that.
white head and I'll be sad. Well, actually, I think
Yeah.
if I was a Smurf, I would not be wearing any of these, and you would just see me in like weird white pants and like a hat. I don't think that's YouTube
Bingo.
appropriate.
I wish we could you know, I have fond memories of you in your Big Bird fleece also. I
Honestly,
like
I
that
should put that on
you
eventually.
commit. You commit to a look and I like that about you for
I
real.
do. I'm glad that you
Yeah.
notice.
I do. I notice, believe me. Because as you can see, I'm clearly very fashionable myself too.
That is very true.
I just have a full wardrobe of black. I no, I'm very fashionable for Silicon Valley, even though I moved over the hill. Like this is how we roll. Black hoodie. Doesn't matter what your job function
Gotta
might
look
be.
good for the viewers.
That's
Gotta
good.
make sure you
And
dress to impress.
I'm gonna do a shot because I'm drinking to you because Canada's letting you in.
Cheers. I wish I had something to drink right now too.
I also
No,
wish
it's
this for
really
you.
exciting. It's really
Yeah.
exciting.
I know
So,
they're letting you leave the country or the continent, I should say. You've been allowed to leave the country, right?
mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to watch it live from a TV on the next Wednesday. That's so crazy.
Oh my God, that's totally exciting and weird. At
Put
the
on
same
Global
time.
for me. It will be good to
Yeah,
go to
baby.
watch.
Yes. So what did you think of the episode last night? Eh?
Honestly, it was like it was a good episode again. And while you once again had this weird like advantage situation that I don't like, I think that this time they were a lot smarter about it with like how they presented the story. Like when they like gave the phrases and then Naseer pops out of nowhere and he's like, "Oh hey, I found the idol by the way." I'm like, no way.
That was a weird edit. Sorry, I just
It
switched from
was
speaker view to gallery view. That was a weird edit where we just didn't know. What did you think about
I
that? Yay
loved
or nay
it.
on that kind of
I
thing? Oh, you
loved
did.
it. No, it
Okay.
was so good because like you basically went into this expecting that they would just like make a fool out of themselves, like discovering who else has the idol. Ricard was super smart about it because he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna point at this guy who I already know said a phrase. Like he already mentioned that, so like why not like bring him into the mix? And then Nasir comes out of nowhere and he's like, I'm confused, and you're just like, oh. you
Yeah,
know.
right. I kind of like Naseer, but
I did too.
they're totally fucking voting his ass off. Well, now he has immunity, but like they do not like him on their tribe at all. You
I
can
think that
tell.
there's probably other targets in front of Nasir. Like I think Nasir is
Maybe.
like not on the top of the totem pole, but he's probably also
Yeah.
not on the bottom of the totem pole, which, he started off really strangely, but apparently as time went by and the more time you get to bond with the other people on the island without going to tribal, you just kind of get more chances to form these genuine relationships. And maybe this is why he was kind of given an in. Like I don't think they would have come to him and asked him to throw the challenge or not if they wanted to vote him out. Like I think they would want to throw it out
Well,
to vote
that
out like
was his
Erica.
impression, right? Like he totally freaked out. He's like, they're working with me. I was like, this poor man, he is really not used to being in with the bros. And that is
It's
for real.
cute.
So I'm happy for him, but I feel like it's not genuine. And
Nah,
all I want to say is, Naseer, I'm never in with the bros either. So I feel your pain. But I'm in with Naseer. I'm all
I'm
about
in
Naseer
witness
for
here.
real. Yeah,
We're
yes,
just
I stand with Naseer.
we're the Nasir fan club here. And I think Nasir is generally very positively received, which is like great. He's like adorable. Like, I don't know.
He
A
is
man,
adorable. You know why? Because he is sincere. He's
yeah.
not. as much as he might want to be a power player, like that guy is not, he doesn't have like the sneakiness of a Shan or a
Mm-hmm.
Ricard, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
which is good and bad. He's the kind of guy who loses Survivor, but you still love him because he
Mm-hmm.
was not
Right.
a liar and a cheat, you know?
Mm-hmm. You don't like typically look at someone like Naseer and expect to like define them as adorable during the season, you know? Because he's like a rock of a man. Like he could throw you across the room easily. Just like fuck.
I like that he knows all about the island and how to find fruit and how to get coconuts out of trees with slingshots or whatever the hell he was
So
doing.
good.
I
So good.
know. I wish I could do one survivor skill. But this was my favorite part of the episode, come to think about it, was the fact that Naseer's daughter had him doing drills on finding things in the backyard before the season. He's like, my daughter would be so proud of me. No, I
Uh,
could just imagine that whole scene where she's like, Dad, you're so fucking lame. Like, we have to do this again.
okay,
Find it.
to sway away
Yeah.
from this, I would like to
Yes.
talk a little bit about Ua. Genie is really not smart for finding the idol, telling Ricard and Shan about it, and then leaving it on the island ground. Just take it for yourself. You know you're not in a
Yeah.
good spot. Why would you?
I know. It's like, have you ever watched this show before?
Why would
Like,
you
don't.
willingly give
I
up an
don't know.
advantage when you narrowly avoided elimination like this? She
I
should have
feel like she
grabbed
did
that
it
shit.
because of the JD thing.
I don't know. Like she probably thought that she was like on the ins because of that. But if you were this close to elimination, you should have just grabbed that shit and ran with it. Because she was like
I
so
meant
proud of it.
because she watched Shan get so mad because JD didn't tell her about the advantage. So she was
That's
afraid
fair,
of
but
Shan's ire.
Jeannie told Shan about the advantage, so she should have been scotch-free. And if Shan would have gotten
Right.
that, she could have just
Right.
played the idol and said bye. Like there was
Well,
no
she got what she
reason.
deserved for
There
sure,
was
because that was
no
lame.
reason for Jeannie not to take that idol into her pocket. And then you, on the other hand,
I feel like if there's sorry, go on.
you go because I was about to switch topics again.
I was gonna say if there's one thing that we can take away from this episode, it is A, don't put your freaking advantages and idols in your bag, and B, do not leave your bag unattended. Like
I was
bury
gonna
that
talk
shit.
about this, like Liana and
What? It's like book in my mouth.
Liana
Let's
and Tiffany,
discuss.
like jumping through it. Like you had like this edit where they're like questioning Evie's intentions, and then they're like, let's just go through Xander's bag. And I'm just like, see what y'all are doing. And then
See?
Xander lying to Tiffany about like where he got the advantage from. And she's like, actually, you said
That
this
was
phrase before.
Funny.
I did
So
not.
funny.
I did not think that Tiffany, based on like the first few episodes, would be someone that would just clock something like this so quickly.
But you
Brilliant.
forgot she's a teacher. That's
True.
why. And I love that they zoomed in on that. She's like, okay, my whole job is knowing when people are lying, and this loser is lying. Although I don't like her. I just want to put it out there. I just don't like her whole vibe.
I think she's like kind of growing on me, but I'm still not really rooting for her, if that makes sense.
I am totally not
Like,
rooting for her.
She has her moments, like that was funny, like her eye rolls into the camera and her just like saying, Xander, you're kind of like lying to me right now. Like that's funny. That's good TV.
Yeah, I felt for him though, because that was totally like going to the principal's office and getting busted for, you know.
I mean, to be honest,
that joint
though,
you had in your coat.
it was his idea to go to her and tell her about the idol anyway. So he should have just done it right.
He's so cute and naive.
Yeah, but I always forget that he's like the youngest person out there.
I know he's really young and
He's younger than
adorable.
me. How are there people younger than me on
What? How old are
Survivor?
you?
I'm 23 and he's
Okay, I
20.
was thinking you were 24. See, I
Oh,
was even
not
giving you
yet,
more
not yet,
credit.
not
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, it's
Few
pretty
months
sad
short.
that you're younger than my kid. It says so many things about this situation. One, like how immature I am.
Well, who
There you go.
cares?
I
Who
saw
cares?
myself like, see, when I saw Tiffany before, I was like, oh my God, that's like me. I don't want to be a Tiffany. But then I saw that and I was just like,
It
I
was
can't.
hysterical to me. It was really
It
like I
really
was
was
entertained.
hysterical. Yeah.
Um,
So this
and
is
then
really crazy. Ricard is slimy as hell. I mean,
she
Shan is
is,
like an
but
evil genius, but he is like he's on the slimy side. That's my
they're
feeling.
like
And I like
both
him.
they're like both evil geniuses. Like that advantage situation when they went to tribal and Shan asked him for the advantage, he was like, no, like that was intense. He
That
was in
was
a
very intense.
She was in the right though.
Oh,
She had a
wait,
point,
what?
but Shan had a point, but Ricard also had a point, and that's what made the whole situation so tricky. Because
What
of
was her
course,
point?
Shan's point was that she wanted to give Ricard a reason not to vote her out, but then Ricard pulled the Uno reverse on her and said, "Well, if I don't have anything, you have no reason to keep me." And I'm like, "Well, they're both kind of right, you know."
I
But
was like, go
Shan
Ricard, because she just keeps talking people into doing the same shit. It's
I feel
like,
like
don't be JD, Ricard.
I feel like honestly they kind of had to just build up an intense moment because I guess the vote was always going to be Genie, but that was so strange. Like Shan, if she was so close to Ricard and she already had an idol that he knows about, she has no reason to just go like to him and be like, "Well, give me my extra vote too." And it's like she has power, she has a lot of it, but when she's put under pressure, like every time she goes to tribal, she like loses it for a second. And she did a good job handling these people for now, but if she were to do it again in a merge situation with people she just met, don't know if they would necessarily react to it the same way as her OG tribe, which basically at this point doesn't even exist anymore.
I
Turn
know, right?
Ricard. Turn
She
Ricard.
was smart to start to ally herself with Liana. Like that was also a very intense scene, but still,
I
I'm still mad at her and I still don't trust her. Like I think she's really like underhanded, you know?
I think that moment was really important for like, CBS live TV. Because the thing
Ah,
is that it
you're
always
so
happens. Like
cynical.
you I'm serious. I'm serious. Um, you always see like people talk about it when they see two black women on a reality TV show that's about working together. They're always like, the black women are going to work together. You don't look at two white men like this. You don't look at two white women like this. You don't look at anyone really outside of black women for whatever reason. For some reason, they're always together every time. And I'm really glad that they highlighted it in some way because it's true. Like, theoretically speaking, if everyone entered the game without biases, we would not have had to deal, we wouldn't have to deal with these situations where people get isolated or people are afraid to be isolated. Like, there's going to be a day, and I'm really looking forward to that day, um, where like every alliance within is like fluid and, you know, people just vibe because they vibe and they don't trust because they don't trust. And it's not like people having to fear being outcast for who they are because and like we're taking a step in the right direction slowly and surely, and I think if they keep up casting diversely, um they're going to manage to achieve that really soon, I think.
This is a very diverse cast this time around. But what I want to say, and this is only because I've been working at, companies where they make you take bias training. Like
Mm-hmm.
we all have bias. We all have unconscious bias. And one of the biggest biases is similarity bias, where we gravitate towards people who are like us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when you don't have quote unquote minorities in a group, you're biasing the situation against them. So, I mean, what I'm hearing from you is, wouldn't it be cool if we had a world where there was no similarity bias? But that is never going
Not
to
really
happen.
similarity bias, but just like bias in general, you know?
Yeah. There's always going to be bias, though, for
Probably.
sure.
That's like the sad thing. I'm always just like, oh yeah, I'm so happy. Like I'll be friendly to anyone who's friendly to me, and I'll be an ass to anyone who's an ass to me. And it does not matter who you are, where you come from. I'll be your friend, you know? But
I wonder
somehow,
if it has to be with being in a marginalized group, right? Like, so, like, I think that's why I wanted to root for
no.
Tiffany, because I'm like, she's an older white woman. Well, I'm an older white woman. Like, but then now I don't like her. But don't you feel like, you know, I don't know, do you not feel affinity with people who are the same as you?
No, I don't at least. I resonate with people who face adversity for reasons that are beyond their control. Whether it is sexuality or skin
Aw.
color or anything like that. Like I'm
That's
personally
why
not the
we're
type of,
friends, though.
I'm
That's for real. That's why you and I are friends, though.
I'm personally not the type of guy that looks at another white man and is like, that's the one. Everyone
Okay,
else
what
go away.
about gay
That's the
men,
one.
though? What
I mean,
about
I
gay
have to
men?
gravitate to gay men. Like,
Okay, so, but that's okay. That was unfair. I'm just saying, let's say you're in a group that's mixed color, that's mixed, ages, but there's only one other gay guy. Are you not going to form an alliance with him and be like, listen, we're the only two here. Let's make sure we stick together?
I would probably joke about it, but that would not be a
Yeah.
criteria to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
obviously, when you're like, when there's like two gay guys, and you're like, we're two gay
Yeah.
guys, you're just like, but
Where there's two gay guys, there's usually me also.
yeah,
Don't
it's
know
like
why.
I definitely
Mm.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I
I'm just
definitely
saying it's
understand what you're saying.
unconscious that,
It's
like, when you're in
true.
a group that you feel like is unique or small, then you look for people who are like you to make connections with, because you feel like there's less that you need to say to connect. That's all.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's what we are seeing with Liana and Shan.
Yeah, and that's
And
why
I'm
I'm so
not
glad that they showed
sure.
it.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. And I also think it's great to have a cast that is this many shades of color and as many different sexualities and gender identities. Like, there's a lot. This is the most diverse cast we've ever seen. And it really does make it a lot more interesting. Because it's boring seeing a bunch of just pretty young white people, heterosexual
Exactly.
white people on a beach
But
with here and there a token.
this is why it angers me so much that we actually miss out on some personal moments, because we just had like a really great moment with Liana and Shan, of
Same.
course, but there's just been episodes and moments where you get all this unnecessary like advantage bullshit content where you're just like, okay,
Yeah.
well, like I look at someone like Ricard and I'm like, all I really know about you is that you're like a hardcore strategist, and then I see him on
Right.
social media and I'm like, if we saw his social media side on a show, he would probably be very, very rootable. But because he's portrayed to me as someone that's just like a robot, I'm like, this is supposed to be someone that I like you said, like I'm supposed to resonate with this guy because he's a gay
Yeah.
dude. I'm supposed to like him. I somehow don't
Right.
really enjoy
Right.
rooting for him for whatever reason.
Right.
But I'm
Because
not
he's
going to take
slimy and
away.
you're not like them.
I'm not going to
That's
take away that
why.
this was a great episode for him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
his way of talking during like the challenge and
Definitely.
tribal were impressive. I wish we
Yeah.
would see more of this at like tribe camp content, you know.
I like him less after this episode, and I liked him a lot more before
I
this
think this was a good
episode.
episode for him though.
Well, good as far as the game went. Like, I was super glad that he didn't give up the extra vote and give it back to Shan, because I was just like, Shan, like, she can talk anybody into doing anything.
Mm.
And I thought that was kind of bullshit. Like, I'm just like, okay, you guys, Like Shan, like Ricard, you've seen Shan do this twice now. Like, how are you gonna do it again? Like, don't let her. And he was not. So I did like that. But it's just his vibe is very negative and underhanded. That's what I'm not liking. And he's been one of my favorites until now.
And I think that it's because of the way that he's like given the edit. Because I mean, I always like to give the benefit of the doubt when it comes to edit and say, hey, someone's probably not getting the greatest content. Ricard
Yeah.
definitely strikes me as someone that could have better content, but is not getting it.
Oh, that's
Or
interesting.
maybe he was a robot out there on the island. It's very possible, but there's just moments he had where it's like, well, he could be really fun. Why am I not
Yeah.
seeing the fun?
Yeah. So let's go back to Naseer for a moment, if we can, and talk about Danny and Deshawn bringing in Naseer and telling him, listen, we want to throw the challenge, and he's not having it. Do you think he blew it in that moment? Did
No,
he blow his potential bro moment?
no, because you shouldn't throw challenges in Survivor, honestly. Like technically speaking, we're 13 people. If they don't throw the challenge, and they could absolutely go the route of like, let's play a boring game, go into the merge 6 strong, and just pick people off before we decide whatever we want to do with each other.
Yeah.
Throwing challenges historically has not worked out very well, and it's also not like they can really be mad at him because he was not exactly involved in the initial plan the first time. So
That's true.
I don't know.
But did he blow his chance with Danny and Deshawn?
In my opinion, I don't think we've seen enough reaction
Yeah,
to
we
be
don't
able to
know.
judge that. Like
Yeah.
I think that they took their shot to like trust him with the idea of throwing, and he respectfully said, I don't want to do it. And instead of like throwing a fit about it, he took this as an opportunity to say, hey, like I think I'm here with people giving me a good offer. So maybe they're going to try to keep him in their back pocket.
Yeah. Interesting. So what's happening with Sydney? You were loving her last week and saying she was underrated. I just love her now because she's a free diver who can catch fish, and I'm just all about anyone who's got good underwater game. What are your thoughts?
I think Sydney has got to make the finale at this point. Like not final tribal council,
Really?
not final tribal council, but probably the finale episode. And I'm saying this because we've seen her every single episode for no reason.
You're just looking at edit clues, though.
I am in a way, but I also think that like if I was an editor and Sydney was going to get voted out at some point, I'm not going to waste airtime on Sydney every episode. She has content
Yeah.
every episode, and
Yeah.
like you kind of see her as like the villain, like don't give a fuck kind of like, you know, almost mean girl vibe, but like the funny mean
Yeah.
girl vibe.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't have to give her content. Like I expect that I don't expect to see much of Erica or Heather like moving forward because they just don't give them content, and they've given everyone else content. So I'm like more excited to see them later in the game. So I also kind of expect them to make it further into the game, if that makes sense.
Wait, what?
So
So you're saying because they don't have content, you expect them to be later in the game? Wait, I'm
because they're
confused.
because people like Sydney, people like Naseer,
Yeah,
people like
they're getting
Danny,
airtime.
they're
Yeah, screen
getting
time.
they're getting a lot of screen cut time, even though they
Mm-hmm.
haven't gone to tribal. That makes me
Mm-hmm.
think that we will probably see a little more of them when they actually do have to start going to tribals,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're going to focus on knocking out the people that we don't want to root for, the ones that we know nothing about. That's at least my prediction. But
Yeah.
we've seen so much of Sydney at this point that it's like you kind of want to root for her and you actually want to see what she's capable of doing in the game. She just hasn't been given a chance to.
Yeah, she's she's been very humanized by the edit, right? Like we've seen her be a total bitch. Now we see her kind of being a hero this time around when she's catching all the fish and feeding everybody. So
Mhm.
she's kind of a wild card. I don't know who she's close to.
She is
Like,
close to Danny and Deshawn, I'm sure, because of the whole situation where they told her that Erica threw her name under the bus.
yeah,
I'm
that's
fairly
true.
certain of that.
Something about her. I guess it's that whole like, oh well, I'm really good looking
Yeah,
and
she
I'm
has a
dope
lot
as
of
fuck and I'm
confidence.
super smart. Like
She,
that
she
that
has
kind
a
of
lot of
confidence though
confidence,
pisses me
but
off. I don't like
also
it.
also I think it's satire. Based on her social media presence, I think she's kind of like
Mm.
making fun of herself as well. So she's out there like she obviously is very confident, but she's kind of like playful with it. Like I don't think that her almost cockiness about herself is actually like truthful. Like I think that is her
You
like
don't think
making fun
it's
of herself.
sincere?
I think it's sincere. Like I think it's like I think it's hard to like say it's sincere and it's not sincere. I just think that she has fun playing up that character
Yeah.
and she likes to joke around like that. That's like the vibe I get of who Sydney is.
I wonder if she knows how much people hate lawyers.
She retweet I was gonna say she retweets like every single hate comment about her on Twitter and like
I should be
likes
paying
them.
attention. I'm not even following the
It's
cast. I'm so
so
lame.
funny. She
She
retweets
retweets
them
them.
all.
Does she quote tweet them or like
No,
does
she
she
just
add commentary? She
now
just
she
retweets them.
literally just retweets them
Maybe she knows
without
all
a
press is
comment.
good press.
It's so funny.
That is really funny.
It's really like I don't know that this is why I'm thinking like there's no way
Yeah.
that she's actually like this. I think that she's putting on like
Yeah.
a satire character, but we're still seeing
Yeah.
who she is because that is her.
So let's talk about for a second Shan and her strategy in kind of aligning herself with Liana. Like she's planning ahead for after Emerge that we don't know when it's going to come because we see
Mm-hmm.
next time drop your buffs, but Jeff's like, well, it's not exactly Emerge. So like,
Mm-hmm.
is that the right thing to do? Is that the wrong thing to do strategically? What do you
Now she
think?
absolutely see, in my opinion, she absolutely had to do this. Because everyone else who's gone on that island thing has had the opportunity to do it with everyone else. So of course, if I'm Shan, I'm gonna throw myself onto this opportunity. And in Shan's like to Shan's advantage, it happened to be someone that she can very easily resonate with from the
Yeah.
get-go. So
Yeah. The stuff about her mom made me sad, and finding out that Shen like was a gangsta and stuff. Like that was
mhm.
pretty intense. That
That's probably
her
why she
mom was a
calls
drug
herself
addict.
It's probably why she calls herself like mafia pastor. It's like a little bit of the past.
I don't know. I don't know. I just like I still have an issue with someone who calls himself religious but is like so ready to lie, cheat, and steal. I don't know. See, this is why I would suck at Survivor. I'm
Mhm.
really bad at that. I'm not able to like look you in your eye and lie to you like that.
Yeah, I don't know how I would do that in person. I think it's a little easier over a screen.
Yeah, I agree with that too. So I mean, I was sad for her when I heard about her mom, and it explained a lot of stuff. And I do feel that that moment was sincere between the two of them. Like that wasn't a strategic moment. I
Oh
wonder
no.
how it's going to affect her game that she came back and told them exactly what she did.
I mean,
Her
um,
teammates. I know she only
I
has
mean,
one teammate though.
she was obviously only gonna leave tribal council with one of them, and I think not hiding
Yeah.
what happened. Like
Yeah.
I think honestly, probably Ricard and Shan knew they were always going to vote Genie. So Shan figured might as well just spit my guts because the only person that's going to know about this later is Ricard, anyways, who I want to work with moving forward. So Ricard is not going to want to use this information against her when an
Yeah.
ally of Shan's will probably be an ally of Ricard's. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than
I
hiding
wonder
it
what's
because
going to
then they
happen
would.
next time with the tribe switch up, and if they're going to go to 2 or if they're going to have just another 3 or what's going
It's
to
going to be some
happen.
weird ass twist. I don't see it being a swap. because they haven't swapped all season. Why would they do it at 12?
I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
man.
Watch,
I
watch,
mean, they
watch they do.
obviously they
Watch if
want
they
us to not
repeat.
know.
Watch if they repeat the stupid ass double tribal twist where they split them into 2 of 6. That's gonna screw someone over. They've done it in the past.
I don't know
So
what you're talking about.
they like
This
split
is the
up.
problem with smoking too much weed. I can't remember anything.
Like
Every
in
season's
Island of
brand
Idols,
new.
for example, they had this
Hmm.
situation where they like randomly split them into 2 new tribes again, but both of these tribes would have to go to tribal council and vote someone out.
That's right. That's right. And they barely knew each other. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so
Yeah. So, okay. So each episode, you and I have projected like a possible winner. Are you still, do
yes.
you have any different feelings about it?
My projected winner. I would still like to put my ex into Sydney's basket.
Okay. Interesting.
I think that Shan is probably too obvious at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you. Also, I do think she's playing a dangerous game, though.
I'm not sure if it's going to work out well with the other people because, like, someone that I've talked to, and I don't want to discredit Shan's game at all, but they also like kind of described it that the Green Tribe was not really the brightest. You had Sarah who got voted out because she bombed a challenge. You had Brad who was Brad. You had JD who was naturally very naive. And then
Yeah.
when you had Shan, Ricard, and Genie, they already kind of had the upper hand, and it was just a matter of making sure that they can convince Genie. And then Genie went on to do several like mistakes that she shouldn't have done. So
Yeah,
I'm not
most
sure.
notably this
Like
time around.
I'm just imagining myself like if she were to pull this on like Sydney, she would look at her and be like, if she were to pull this on Tiffany, Tiffany would like run off to Evie and Liana and be like, this fucking bitch is trying to get my advantage. I can't believe this. You know?
Yeah. Speaking of Abby, though, this is a very interesting dynamic that's happening there where it's like Evie is playing Xander, but now Tiffany is believing that Evie has an alliance with Xander, which
Yeah, I
is
think this is the
really kind of
start.
a weird thing.
I think
She's
that could
getting
be,
paranoid. Tiffany's paranoid.
yeah, but I think that could be like a potential like foreshadowing for Evie's downfall potentially.
I
If
think so too.
either that or Tiffany's going to do herself in one of the two.
I hope so. I'm mad at her. I don't like her now. I really don't. I think she's really negative and it's bumming me out. And I like Effie. I think I want her to go further, but she's gonna fuck up. I know it's tiring. So why don't we you're yawning. It's
I'm
only 2:30
so
a.m. What's your
sorry.
problem? It's
I
only
know.
2:30
I didn't
a.m.
sleep
Really?
well today. I
You
had to get
poor
a COVID
thing.
test early in the morning.
Oh, for your trip to Canada. Yeah, the country that allows you to come in. So,
Exactly.
okay, so then let's just close it out by talking about who was the MVP of the episode and who was the biggest asshole, or as you like to say, flop.
I
I
think the
yeah.
MVP of the episode was probably Ricard. Very well spoken.
Really?
Yes. Very well spoken, lots of good moments, very like very constant, very constantly positive strategically. He did not give Shan like he gave no shits to Shan. He did not back down. He brought his point across, and he still wasn't voted out. I think this was a really good episode for Ricard.
Okay. I actually thought Shan won this one because I felt like she was strategic in every single direction.
Mhm.
She's making plans for the future. I did love that Ricard did not give her back
Yeah, like
her
the
vote.
thing
Good for you, Holmes. Like, come
the
on.
thing with Shan is just like that. I don't know. They're kind of building it so that every episode is like Shan's episode, and I don't want to take it away from Shan, but I also want to like give props to other people because like
Yeah.
it's obvious Shan's doing a good job, but Shan also has like her weird moments. I just think
Yeah.
particularly for this episode, I was like more surprised by Ricard and his
Yeah.
performance than I was by
Yeah.
Shan.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't say who I thought could win, but I do think Naseer
You
could be
do?
Yes, I do. Because I get the feeling that, yes, Naseer is making some naive mistakes, but I feel like they're naive enough to where he's going to forge authentic relationships with people and they're not going to want him to go because he is sort of adorable, you know? His lack of snakiness is adorable.
Yeah, I think he's the type of person that if people were to take to the end, that they would have a difficult time beating because of who he is.
That's true. He might not make it all the way to he might make it to Final Four because, yeah, he's a sympathetic character.
I'm curious to see how he would handle an idol. Like, definitely.
Well, now he has one, right?
Exactly.
Now he has one. Boy, they had to work hard on this show to have everyone find the idols. Like
him, Xander, and Shan.
Right.
Shan also has another extra vote. Xander also has another extra
if
vote.
Ricard gives it back to her.
Well, I mean, I think that they're probably going to enter this and be very close. They have no reason not to. They're the only people that have been able to rely on each other. So
who was the biggest idiot on the episode?
Genie.
Yeah, man. Come on. Fail.
Genie really got herself voted out here. She should have
screwed up.
She should have taken the idol. She should have maybe tried considering like playing the shot in the dark. She should have like
why didn't she play shot in the dark? I mean, when she had 1 out of 3 odds, like somebody's going home, honey.
She probably just got manipulated well, but it's really unfortunate because there were like so many ways she could have saved herself this episode, and she did not take any of them.
She was so outclassed by those guys.
I will say in Genie's defense though, I think it's absolute bullshit that they started off with tribes of 6 and did not swap 6 boots in just because they wanted to like distribute the 3 idols. In my opinion, at least one swap should have happened. They should have never even been able to give the tribe the chance to go down to 2 members.
Why? That's not the first time, by the way. If you remember,
I know in Philippines, but Philippines had 4 votes and then they dissolved. This is now the 6th vote and they're down to 2. They should have.
No, but which was Philippines this season where it was 1 chick left? I want to say Kelly again.
That was Guatemala.
Guatemala when there was
wait, no.
That girl's name.
Palau. Stephanie.
Palau. And she was alone.
Yeah. But that was also like old school Survivor. Like they know better now.
Better than what? Maybe we're going back to old school.
I don't know.
All bets are off.
I really wasn't a fan because it's like you're basically throwing Shan and Ricard into a really shitty situation where they're about to encounter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, of which they only got to meet 1, which is Liana, and everyone else they're meeting for the first time. They are so outnumbered. Yeah. It's not really fair.
So, okay, old school, new school, it really does seem like things are different this time around, right? Do you feel like you're less able to predict what's going to happen? Because I'm like,
I think so.
This is really different. So.
They're trying really hard to like even make the most predictable vote off something that you can, like, that you start to question.
Yeah. Oh my God, did they have game within a game last night? I totally missed it.
They did.
I missed it completely.
I think it was something. I didn't do it yet because the website has been acting up for me for a while now. But it's like I think it was something
Germans. No matter what's happening in this country, you're just not allowed.
I think it was something about like a learning curve. I think it was something about a learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been trying to solve them every week just to prove that I'm as smart as a preschooler, but so far I'm not.
Are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Exactly. No, I'm not. Anyway, cool. Well, any last thoughts before I let you sleep? And
well, I'm really curious to see what the dynamics for the potential merge episode is. If it is a merge, I do hope that it doesn't turn into a situation of both tribes team up on, Ricard and Shan. I'm hoping that we also don't get a storyline of where it's the entire blue tribe versus the world. Like there's so many weird situations that could take place, but I just hope that we get an exciting end game and it's not an advantage driven exciting end game.
Yeah. I hope I hope that Sydney catches a bigger fish. I just want to free dive. I just want to be underwater.
She's a mermaid.
Cool. Yeah, she's a mermaid. That's how I feel. I'm a mermaid, but I can't free dive for shit. But anyway, cool. Well, thanks for joining me, Alex, in the middle of the night. I totally appreciate it.
All day, every day.
All day, every day. And if you guys are watching this live, all two of you, that's awesome. Thanks for being here. If you're not, if you're watching this later, please join us live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the middle of the fucking night in Germany.
You can even chat with us in the live chat and ask us questions.
Yeah, so true. Somebody besides Mary will do that someday. Mary's our other co-host on Kiki and Kids. Anyway, thanks everyone. Yes. Well, travel safely, Alex, and we will see you next week from Canada.
Thank you.
Unless you cancel. Unless you cancel.
I hope not.
And then if you cancel, then Jeff Probst is going to be my co-host. I don't want to give anything away, but
we're going to get like
finally Jeff Probst is going to answer one of my tweets and then we'll come on as co-host. I feel it.
All right. Well, it was fun as always.
Everybody. Yes,
and honey. See you next time.
Peace out.